Wolverhampton Wanderers not too long ago became a shining example of what a team can become with the right recruitment and the right man behind them. And it used to be the example that every team in the Championship, or even League One at times, can even look up to, that with the right plan can become a top level Premier League side that can challenge and enter European competition. They had a real vibe to them, and even with the jokes of them being always compared to the Portuguese national team B team, well, I think they'll be like to be compared that now, because now they're the Portuguese national team L team. The years of 2017, 18, 19, the years of Raul Jimenez, Ruben Neves, Diogo Jota, Adama Traore, them going away to Manchester City, beating them 2-0, beating Besiktas in the last minute in the Europa League, and of course that incredible volley against Derby County by Ruben Neves. They had an incredible vibe to them. Nuno Espirito Santo, their manager, that had an actual collective spirit, and they were going in the right direction. Now we can look at where Wolves are now, and they're not even close to being comparable to that team not even too long ago, and they've completely lost everything that they used to be, and this year has been a complete mess from start to finish, and it is a real shame. And even when I try to type in Wolves on Google now, it still shows me pictures of actual Wolves, and it's quite annoying. So tell me down below your thoughts about Wolverhampton Wanderers this year. Can they actually get relegated? They kind of have a weird feeling to them that reminds me of Southampton 2 years ago, where they seemed like a very consistent, stable Premier League club. So you kind of feel like, well, they clearly have some experience and some quality there, so they probably won't go down, and they'll eventually find a way out of it. And same can be said about Leicester City 2 years ago as well, and it kind of feels like that. No team is too big to go down, especially in this day and age. There's no such thing. Every single year people keep banking on the likes of a Brentford or a Bournemouth that will eventually go back down because, you know, cream rice is at the top in terms of that kind of stuff. It doesn't matter at all. Bournemouth are absolutely killing it. Brentford has and always will be. And, well, Nottingham Forest, that was in a relegation battle last year. Literally, they could have gone down on the last day last year in theory. Now they are 5th in the Premier League. So things can change quite fast. It may be a bit more painful the fact that their current manager at Forest is also Nuno Espirito Santo. That's a tough one to take. So comment down below your thoughts about Wolverhampton Wanderers, and like, subscribe, and for Christmas, of course, my own print company, Vizeh Designs, all right behind me. Use code Xmas for 15% off. Of course, countless Wolves items too. I added like 3 more to the site like last week, so go and check it out. And I do apologise that I've been quite quiet on YouTube in the last month or so because of Mazzala. It's only me doing it. I've got a friend doing customs as well, but it's just me doing the socials, emails, everything. It's kind of took over my life. And also I've been traveling, I've been with my daughters, so I've just had less time for YouTube this month. And of course, the same happened last year as well. You understand, I appreciate your support. So if you guys do want to support me as well, check out Mazzala. And if you want to get yourself a gift for Christmas or for your friends and family, go and check it out. So let's get into Wolverhampton Wanderers and the aftermath of El Sacico. After West Ham United beat Wolves 2-1 last night, I watched the game in fact, and I saw a quote which it stuck by me quite well, that what is the quietest you've ever heard 60,000 people make? Well, when both teams walked out last night at the London Stadium on a Monday night, a bit cold as well, that was the quietest I think I've ever heard 60,000 people make. A real lack of pre-match excitement and cheering from the home fans. Not really much of a massive boost from the away fans too, morally just annoyed by the fact they're so far away from the actual pitch. And there's a feeling which I fortunately never felt, but something which fans may have ever come to at some stage in their life, where you end up coming to a stage where you kind of are not hoping you lose, but just kind of don't care if you do. And that's where West Ham United and Wolves find themselves at. Of course, Wolves are in a much more precarious position to West Ham United, as they currently are in the bottom 3 deep right now. If I was to ask you, because you'd kind of, maybe if you just don't look at a table, you'd think that Wolves aren't doing that bad, but they're doing that bad. They're below Ipswich, Christ, which Ipswich have only won 1 game all season. Wolves are currently 19th with 9 points with 2 wins, and those 2 wins were indeed on the bounce about a month ago, and At that moment, it felt like maybe the year was now going to be on top. They beat Wolves, they beat Fulham away convincingly, a great win away from home. Mateus Cunha felt like he was going to be the spark to really take their season, to take them on. Of course, a massive, massive win against Southampton before that, which felt like they won that one game. This is now when they got that first win, they can move on. They got some good, winnable games. Afterwards, they got Bournemouth at home. They've got Everton away. They've got West Ham at home. All three sides that you can maybe say that should get some points, especially West Ham and Everton, but they are away from home. Well, they lost to Bournemouth. Not only lost, but also broke records and also lost 4-2. 3 penalties they gave away in one game. Alongside that, Everton away. Now, Everton are kind of really well known for, especially in December, November, usually they become really good at the end of the year. But at this stage, this is a time to face Everton at Goodison Park because they can really turn on them. They lost 4-0. Who concedes 4 goals to Everton? Now, you may say, okay, look, it's not that bad because they actually only scored 2 because 2 goals were indeed own goals by the same player. Craig Dawson scored 2 own goals in that game. Are you kidding me? And then, of course, last night, West Ham United, I watched the first half. I wish I didn't. Nothing happened. And in the second half, the game did open up and it did become much more of an interesting contest. But it was just... It was like an example of how to keep, giving away the easiest passing opportunity, the amount of breaks that both teams had, predominantly Wolves. Wolves had many breaks on the transition that they could maybe have took a good chance, and they just made the wrong choice time and time and time again. It was incredibly frustrating to watch. On top of that, a consistent theme with Wolves is that last year, I'm sure you do remember that, they put in a petition, an actual request that can put a vote for every single team in the Premier League to scrap VAR. Wolverhampton Wanderers. They put this forward after teams like Nottingham Forest made very public claims on their social media and their chairman saying that this is a complete mess and that they will look into the options about how VAR has impacted their season and the damages that it can do in terms of their finances and all of that, right? If a team feels like they can be relegated because of VAR, then that's a massive deal. And that's clearly how they felt, but they stayed up anyway, so clearly they didn't care anymore because they voted to keep it. Actually, not only them, but every single team in the Premier League, 19-1. Wolves were the only team that voted to scrap VAR. Over 19 teams voted to keep it. Now, no matter in terms of what your opinion on VAR is, that is a damning precedent. That VAR is here to stay, no matter if you like it or you hate it, even if clubs and the chairmans and the fans and the pundits and they all come out claiming that VAR is ruining the game and so on and so forth. VAR will be here no matter what. And last night, there was indeed 2 decisions that they really could have had penalties. One time, their attacker was basically just bundled over. Literally almost looked like it was a push in the back. No penalty was given. I kind of felt like that could have been given. And another one where it was just kind of falling in the box and it was a needless foul. I want to say it was by Kilman. And then just kind of, instead of getting the ball, and basically, made contact with the player's foot, and because he went on the floor a bit, extravagantly, it was not given. So 2 times last night that you could have really seen a actual chance of Wolves getting a penalty. Of course, neither times they did, and that seems to be a consistent theme between them and PGMO. To give it a sample of how bad this year has actually been, I found an article here about every crazy thing that's happened this season alone for Wolves. You want to go through it? Let's go. Well, let's start off with kits. Yeah, well, Wolves, they launched their new kits, and it's kind of hard to really mess up Wolves kits because they've got a pretty interesting, branding. I like the logo a lot. I like the crest a lot. I like the color scheme. I think they call it old gold. It's definitely not orange. Never say their kits are orange. They will stab you. But hey, look at their kit. They got the sponsor called DBet, which is well. It seems that quite a lot of sponsors have got some weird things going on where this is literally a brand and a sponsor that literally did not exist before this season. This is a Vietnamese gambling firm, betting company. I don't know how many people are using DBet. Maybe it's being used in Malaysia. but it's a bit dodgy. And what about their owners? Well, their owners is a man called Jeff Shi, a Chinese businessman who, at the start of this season, put out a club statement to the club saying that he's committed. It's a long-term project and an important one for him. Hence why, at the start of this year, he made sure of that, to make sure it's a long-term project, by indeed raising the season ticket prices by quite a large amount, and indeed used Aston Villa as a benchmark, comparing them to Aston Villa, who, may I remind you, are playing in the Champions League. Just by the way, if you're curious, for the cheapest adult ticket for Wolves, season ticket this year, the cheapest one is £525. That is in the uncovered section. There's no stand in that part. So for the cheapest one, where you can actually not get your head wet, £735. When fans came out criticising the increases of the season ticket prices, Jeff Shi, the chairman, actually responded back to emails from the Wolves official email. And it didn't go well. For example, we got this iconic email here saying, "Hi Manny, thanks for your email. We've posted a FAQ about the information of season ticket. Best part, don't be sad mate, hopefully Wolf will make you happy and proud in the new season. Best, Jeff." They haven't. They haven't, Jeff. So the chairman's a bit of an idiot. Now, this chairman has been there since 2016-17, so he's been there since the start. So he's been there since the rise of this. However, maybe as the new eras kind of come to the end of the glory years, they may say, I kind of feel like it's kind of all gone downhill from an outside perspective. I'm sure Wolves fans will tell me down below, but for me, it kind of felt like it's all come downhill since that FA Cup semi-final, because I just remember Raul Jimenez with that mask, and that felt like such a... Man, I was jealous of Wolves, so jealous, because they had such a good vibe and a good team, and it felt like they got this incredible Portuguese recruitment strategy, and they become like any Portuguese top talent will want to go to Wolves in the Premier League, even ahead of maybe bigger clubs. If you were a young Portuguese-speaking player from Brazil, or of course you're from Portugal, if you have let's say Tottenham Hotspur wants you, well, you could go to Wolves and be integrated into a core Portuguese group that's doing well and get more game time potentially and get more of an opportunity. Wolves became the example. Hence why one of their kits not too long ago was literally the Portuguese national team kit. But yeah, since that FA Cup semi-final, I believe Raul Jimenez got to make them. I want to say it's 2-0 up. They were 2-0. And then Deulofeu scored an incredible goal. Troy Deeney with a penalty, and then Deulofeu scored in extra time to win the game for Watford. From 2-0 up in the semi-final of the FA Cup to then let it all go away, and it kind of meant nothing because Watford got absolutely spanked in the final by City anyway, and I don't know what's same happened to Wolves. Just from an outside perspective, it feels like since then it kind of felt like it all changed for Wolves, and the kind of trajectory, they reached their ceiling at that point. Now, I've not even spoken about Gary O'Neill. Yeah, and I don't know how long this video has been going on for now. Now, Gary O'Neill has a interesting history. Now, he did come from AFC Bournemouth, and when he was sacked at a time period, he wasn't doing particularly that bad, I would want to say. And they placed him for a Spanish up-and-coming young manager, and felt like that was the right move to make. And it was seen as quite risky, and Wolves took on Gary O'Neill, and it looked like it was a perfect situation where Gary O'Neill was doing pretty decent at Wolves, getting some good results, and then so was Bournemouth. So it felt like it was a perfect blend that both teams made the right choice. And Wolves fans loved Gary O'Neill not too long ago, but the height of this love ended by one particular game. In the FA Cup, yet again, Coventry City at home. Before that, some derby wins, some great wins in the league, beating Spurs at home by a comeback. I remember that game quite well. And before Coventry City at home, it felt like, yeah, they were on the right direction. They were doing some good things. Hwang Hee-chan, the Korean guy, had a great meme against Man City as well, beating Man City. That was a great moment. And since Coventry, it's all gone incredibly badly. Now, financially, there has been some issues. Financial fair play has kind of really been keeping Wolves in their position now for some time now, where they've got to be really careful on what money they spend. So let us look at some weird moments from this year. Let's go to Arsenal with Mosquera. I don't really know why he's choking Havertz on the floor, and I don't really know why he's fingering an Arsenal player, but, your own choice, my friend. The most, I think, deeply just funny situation for them was when Madueke put on Instagram saying everything about this place is you know the rest. The place is not a good place, he's calling Wolverhampton. This is before the game. The fans would obviously want to come out and really give him a piece of their opinion and would really want to spice up and, boost up the players to make them want to, showcase their town to make them proud. Madueke didn't only win in that game, but got a goddamn hat-trick. Do you know how funny that is? I'm sorry, but that is, even as if you're a Wolves fan, even you must see that is just incredibly funny. Like, the balls to say before a game that this place is awful, get literally jeered the entire game, as you should, and to still bag a hat-trick is insane. Alongside the same time period, Nuno, the ex-manager, which was the main catalyst for the entire run, is now at Nottingham Forest with Mason Gibbs-White and a 5th in the league. Alongside that, Raul Jimenez is playing alongside, you guessed it, Adama Traore for Fulham and are doing very well as well. So that doesn't help. Aston Villa, which is one of their rivals, behind West Brom of course, are in the Champions League. At one point, apparently Wolves were indeed linked to signing Vizeh Gyökeres from Coventry City at the time period before he went to Sporting Lisbon. And apparently the reason why they didn't get Vizeh Gyökeres is because the chairman, Jeff Shee, was busy. Apparently that's the case. They've only sacked their set-piece coach this year, one time after losing 5-3 to Brentford. An interesting presser here by Gary O'Neill saying, I haven't looked at the table in real depth, but I'm sure a win at West Ham will move us back out of the bottom 3. A win against West Ham, it won't. They'll still be in bottom 3. Wolves this year has conceded 38 goals, which is awful considering there is a 7-goal gap between them and the club that everyone says is awful, Southampton. So, that's not particularly great. Including this year, they've lost badly. 6-2 to Chelsea, 3-1 to Villa, okay, 5-3 to Brentford, 4-2 to Bournemouth, and 4-0 to Everton. I still cannot believe you lost 4-0 to Everton. So that is Wolverhampton Wanderers. A club which I enjoy doing a Football Manager save with. I may look into doing the same next year, especially if they go down. They could go down this year. The thing is, when I look at the Premier League table, I want to say the quality is bad, but I don't think it's actually that bad. It's just that the quality of Premier League is just that good. And as a Burnley fan, as we saw this last year with us, I'm looking at Ipswich, especially Ipswich. It's hell. The Premier League is awful. I hate the Premier League because you literally need to get it perfect. You need to get it near perfect. Bournemouth are getting things perfect. Forest are now getting things perfect. Brentford and so on and so forth. They've got the perfect plan. And that makes sense because you need to be at the elite level to be in the elite league. And you see, Ipswich spend about 100 million and they've only got 1 win this year, somehow against Spurs. Southampton, the least said about them, the better. Christ. And it's so easy for a team which looks like a comfortable Premier League staple team that could just get dragged down into a relegation battle and could go down. This year is now Wolves and the Crystal Palace, where Palace was given shouts to maybe challenging for Europa League places because of how good they ended last year. Now they could maybe also be in a dogfight. So comment down below your thoughts on Wolves. The Premier League is hell, and we all hate it. So like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. All the clarets.